Hey everyone, it's Brian Altano from Up at Noon, and today I'm joined with Zeus, an incredible speedrunner who I just watched dominate his run in Bloodborne in Awesome Games Done Quick, a really awesome charity that just happened last weekend. Hey Zeus, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's good to be here.
I have to immediately just compliment you on your beard because it's incredible.
I appreciate it. And the beard thanks you as well.
Yeah, of course, it's sentient. So Bloodborne is, right off the bat, one of my favorite video games of all time. And I think I love that game because I almost gave up on it a lot. As many do because it's brutally difficult. But I watched your stream over the weekend, which was, and correct me if I'm wrong, 90 minutes, basically boss rush mode. You didn't really spend a lot of time grinding or leveling up. You didn't go looking for Molotovs or anything like that. You went from boss to boss and you killed each and every one of them with style and finesse and very, very few deaths. And in an attempt to basically win a world record and raise money for charity. Is that correct?
That's basically correct. There were a few more deaths than I would have liked. The RNG wasn't particularly on my side, though that one Reborn was particularly strong. I've never encountered anything like that. But that's basically it. The speedrun is so optimized at this point that you basically just run from boss to boss. If there happens to be an item that'll help you along the way, you may take a second or two to go out of your way to pick it up. But it's so optimized, the world record's so good that you have to just go from boss to boss. And that's it.
That's it. So Bloodborne, obviously 2015, PlayStation exclusive from Software. They have a history of making brutally difficult games. This one specifically, I think, adds a level of sort of terror to it that some of the other Miyazaki games don't even come close to approaching, although they all have incredibly terrifying character design and bosses and stuff like that. What's your history with this game? Did you play it day one? Did you immediately lock into this one?
Oh, definitely. I was going to a store day one to pick it up. I had to make sure I got the Steel Art Book edition. The first two stores I had didn't have it. I got it at the third store finally. I've been playing it. Honestly, when it came out with this game, I played more Demon Souls and Dark Souls, probably a few thousand hours in each, just a ton of PvP. When Dark Souls 2 and this game came out, I was already working, so I didn't have too much time at that moment to put into it. But I did do about 3 or 4 playthroughs maybe over the course of a month or two. It wasn't until about a year and a half ago where I picked it up and started speedrunning the game and just playing it pretty much 5-6 days a week and then really grinding it. That's something you could only do on, Twitch.
Oh yeah, of course. And Twitch is something you only started really kind of connecting with a couple years ago, right? Or I think most people did, but when did you find Twitch?
My story is I was actually watching a streamer called Elias on YouTube for a long time, since his Dark Souls 2 days. And one day on one of his videos, he mentioned Twitch. So I typed in twitch.tv/Elijaz and I found his stream. It happened to be on at the same time. And I thought it was cool. It was a live stream of video games. I really had no idea that this existed. And I watched him for maybe a few days before he mentioned someone else called Witwix. And I was like, who is this guy? So I type in twitch.tv/Witwix. Lo and behold, there's other people on the website. I thought twitch.tv/Elias was just his own website for streaming. And then it just opened my mind. And I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. This is something I want to do and get in on. And it was just kind of the perfect timing because I had a countertop and cabinet manufacturing business, and because of landlord issues, decided to shut it down and take a little bit of a break. So I just went right into it. And luckily I got a little bit of support early on. And we've just been rolling since.
I think that's like so inspiring to people who's like, because you're gonna create an army of people like that as well. I think like kids are gonna watch your AGDQ stream and they're gonna be like, how do I do that? And then they're gonna start and like that's the really
honestly the amount of people who've contacted me just recently for strats on bosses and the amount of people who've come in and started speedrunning and playing the game before GDQ. If you look on playing Bloodborne, maybe when there was a big streamer playing, it would have maybe a couple thousand views. But when nobody was really streaming it, it wouldn't have many viewers.
Right.
And now there's a lot more people playing it, and it's really great to see that the community is thriving because it's an unbelievable game. It's literally my favorite game, and I think it's one of the best games, if not the best game ever made.
I totally agree. Yeah, I was actually talking about that with a friend the other day. How Bloodborne is probably like a top 3 game of all time for me now, and I'm replaying it as we speak. speak, which was cool and sort of serendipitous. I started replaying the game and then someone tipped me off to your stream. I watched your stream and I had this weird interaction where I was sort of like, I went from being like, oh, I'm really good at Bloodborne to, oh my God, this is top tier. So do you have a history of speedrunning? Like, was this something you did as a kid? Like, did you sit down in front of friends and be like, I'm really awesome at Super Mario Brothers?
Well, I will say this. I grew up with the original Super Mario and then Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3, Sonic 2. When I was younger, those were the games that I played the most. So looking back on it, those are speed-oriented games. I just try to go through as fast as I can. Then there was a period in games where I liked probably like Final Fantasy X kind of games, and the speed sort of left me. That's when Demon Souls came in, and I just started PvPing in that game. The PvP in Demon Souls and Dark Souls was great, and I liked doing it in different areas. So what I would do is I'd go through the game, I PvP someone, kill the boss, PvP someone in the next area, kill the boss. So I would go through it kind of quickly. I wasn't speedrunning. I had no idea speedruns even existed at the time. But looking back on it now, I can say I was probably doing a little bit faster. And I really just started with Bloodborne a year and a half ago. My first speedrun was probably 2 hours, 5 minutes. I did 3 weeks of practice before that. And it's just been getting my time down since. My best time right now is 1:10:20. So
oh my God.
I've been able to put like 50 minutes on that.
Dude, I spent like 1:10:20 in the Forbidden Woods last night, just like fighting a bunch of snake dudes, like just like running around in fear. So how many hours do you think you've put into this game so far?
3,000.
No way. 3,000?
Yep.
Dude.
I've been playing for a year and a half, 6 days a week, 8 hours a day.
Oh my God.
Pretty much Bloodborne. This has been what I've been doing.
And so you don't feel like burned out by it or anything like that? You're still...
Oh, I've gotten burnt out at times, and I've done different things. Like, honestly, the past few months have just been practice really for GDQ.
Right.
So I've been doing some BO4, I've been doing just safe strats, I've been not resetting my runs, just continuing. So honestly, speedrun wise, I'm slower than I was maybe a few months ago because of all this stuff that I just, trying to survive is not necessarily what you want when you're trying to be as fast as possible.
Right.
There's different strats involved. So it's just been, I have to relegate between those differences. So I've had a lot of different things that I've done in between. There's a few different types of runs. When I get mad, I might play something else. I played Mario Odyssey for a few days.
That's a nice break from the nightmare of Bloodborne.
I got my PB right after I played it. So you got one thing that I will say about myself is I probably run the game too much early on. Like I grinded in situations where I should have just stopped and played something else. But I'm not mad about it because, I played Bloodborne 3,000 hours and I've had fun. And looking back on it, I'm happy.
Can I ask you then, does the game still scare you at all? Do things still catch you off guard? Do things still like pop out at you in any way?
I'm doing a lore run right now where I'm going through and doing all the quests and getting all the dialogue. And there's some situations, some like noticeable traps that I'm not really familiar of because I go in different areas. Yeah. And a few of them have gotten me. And it's fun to experience deaths like that. Like I said I fought the hardest thing before in the game, the Bloody Crow of Cainhurst. Fighting that guy, I don't normally get to do it. So getting whacked by him a few times, it's a nice change of pace.
One of the things that I really loved about your run that just completely fascinated me was a lot of the skips. And I think that's something that's like you've cultivated, the community is cultivating. People are finding weird ways to get around that game. And for people that haven't really played Bloodborne, you can't jump in that game. There isn't really, there's a roll into a hop, sort of.
There is, if you're sprinting. Yeah. See, one thing about the controls in the game that drive people mad, if you have to hold circle to sprint, circle is also dodge. But if you're holding circle while you're sprinting and you try to dodge, you'll get a jump. Yeah. And the jump has no iframes. So that'll get you killed so many times. Yeah. And the jumps aren't really like real jumps. There's one skip, Yahargul skip. Like I'm phasing through a fence and people say you're breaking the game. But in reality, I'd really just be able to climb over the fence. It's probably about 3.5 feet tall, but there's no option to do that. So we got to get around. We have to perform some shenanigans.
Are you justifying skipping in a narrative sense in that you're like, well, the hunter could totally climb over that fence. That's fair.
Exactly. I use it as a joke because a lot of people, they think, oh, you're skipping a part of the game. Well, the skips in this game are harder than a lot of the bosses. Right. Sewer skip, YOLO Lunarium key skip. Yahargle skip, lecture hall skip, which we call lecture hall skip, because it doesn't matter how good you are, you just need Miyazaki to give it to you.
Right.
You have to be incredibly precise to get them. And then on top of that, you also have to be a little bit lucky. And you have to deal with that. It's literally harder to perform the skips than it is to go around them.
Now, is it possible, for reference, to explain these skips, you're sort of doing that like weird roll ollie hop thing that we were just talking about, which is imprecise to begin with, into the top of like a fence or a wall, and you're sort of clipping through some stuff, you're kind of glitching through things. Is it possible, and what this allows you to do, obviously, for those of you at home who haven't seen it, it allows you to sort of move around the game in a different frequency, and so that you fought the cleric beast as like your 7th or 8th boss or something like that, whereas like for me, that's the first dude you got to fight. So have you ever like gone through one of these skips and then found yourself in a place where the game just locks you out and you have to restart your entire save file?
Oh, definitely. In Fishing Hamlet, if you screw it up, you could actually just get stuck in the wall. You could fall down and just drop for about 45 seconds before the game will kill you.
Oh my
There's
God.
just nothingness there.
Wow.
Yahargle skip, which I was talking about, you phase through the fence. Most of the time you'll get it fine, but sometimes you'll just phase through the column that you usually land on, and you'll just fall through and die. And there's no reason for it. It's just sometimes that happens.
Right.
So there's a lot of, and it's sewer skip is the hardest skip. That first one where you go onto the boxes, you jump onto the ledge, then you plunge onto the fence and walk it. That's the hardest skip in the game. In order to be able to do that consistent, it probably took me about a month of practice just to do it over and over and over again. A lot of the skips are really hard.
Dude, it's so funny because like I tried a bunch of these after watching your stream, and I just looked like the biggest idiot because I'm just like rolling and flailing into walls and bumping into stuff, and I'm like, Zeus does it really well. I could do the skip too. I think it's so interesting that this stuff's coming together. Is this sort of like a balance of you finding things and the community finding things, and everyone just sort of working in synchronicity to help?
Oh yeah,
speedrunners
it's a whole community thing. Like, as far as skips, I don't look for skips. There are other people who look for skips. Some runners look for skips, and some people who don't even run the game look for skips. My contributions will be like details in fights, like the orphan bait, things like that, little instant pickups. So every runner has, I guarantee, every runner in this game has contributed something to this run. And even before me, I started late. So there were a bunch of people who just created the foundation of these runs, and we're just building on that from there. So it's 100% a community sort of thing. It's just something that a lot of people have done over and over and over since the game has been released. So like no one person can take credit, although some people deserve a lot more credit than others because they found more stuff.
I love that because I mean I think inherently speedrunning feels like a competitive community, and it is, but there is that collaborative.
Oh, it's very competitive.
Yeah, but there is that collaborative nature of it too, of people being like, I have this, and they bring it all to the table to sort of like help everybody get a little quicker.
Oh, exactly. Most people in the community are willing to share strats, and anytime somebody comes in, they ask me what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'll do a tutorial for a boss fight for anybody. There's no reason to have secret information in this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like with NASCAR, any sort of race, everybody's running on the same track. You have access to the same equipment. If you get a world record with a new strat, it's great, but also like you're not running on the same track as everyone else. So it lessens it a little bit, and to the point where other people have to catch up with the new strats.
Right. Well, I think that's kind of awesome because I mean, by nature, you are publicly showing off whatever new stuff you're pulling off. And then people are watching it and they're going like, oh, I can do that. They're taking notes and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's really cool. Awesome Games Done Quick is a really fantastic charity, for those who don't know, that brings together a bunch of speedrunners, professional gamers, really entertaining people. And I think what really I found incredible about your stream was you have a great balance of not only a great personality while you're playing, you're also incredibly good at the game, but also you're positive about it. And this is a game that specifically during your run started killing you a lot more than I think you probably would have hoped, to the point where people were even donating money based on deaths, which is sort of rubbing salt in the wound, but ultimately good for the cause. How do you stay focused and positive in a scenario like that when it starts to feel like it's slipping away?
This is my job, man. I'm here. I looked at GDQ as my Super Bowl. You know, I've been practicing for it for a few months. Just because the other team scores doesn't mean I'm going to stop.
It's true.
You just got to keep going. And the Bloodborne in general, on the first 5 bosses, you know, like I got some rough stuff, but I dealt with it. I got the 2 skips that are super hard to get live on a run, and then to die in my first death the way I did, I'm honestly happy about it, because when I say that kind of RNG doesn't happen, it really doesn't.
Right.
It shows what Bloodborne is, and you just keep on, no matter what happens in your life, there's a poem, I'll say it. I've been scarred and battered, my hopes the wind done scattered. Snow has frizzed me, sun has baked me. Looks like between 'em they done tried to make me stop laughing, stop loving, stop living. But I don't care because I'm still here. That's it. Langston Hughes. Just keep on moving, guys.
Yeah.
Just keep on moving.
Man, I love that attitude. I think it's infectious, and I think it's fantastic, especially in the video game community that needs more positivity when it comes to stuff like that. Zeus, last question for you. Bloodborne 2, it's something everyone in the world who's played Bloodborne wants. What do you want from this game from the perspective of somebody who's played the original for 3,000 hours? What would you want from a Bloodborne sequel?
Personally, if I get what I want, and now I know exactly what's coming because I've signed a non-disclosure agreement with From Software. Trust me, I know what's coming. But I can't tell you what it is. But if I were to get what I wanted, I would actually want a new IP. My favorite games in the series are Demon's Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne. I would like to see another Miyazaki standalone game, see what he's coming up with, give him whatever he wants and let him go. If they are making Bloodborne 2, I would prefer it to be happening at the same time in a faraway land with different characters. I don't want to see like Lawrence 3.0 or I don't want any sort of that stuff. There was some of that stuff in Dark Souls 3, and I would just like a whole new game with all new enemies, all new experiences, all new traps. That's what I would want. Bloodborne to me literally is the best game of the modern generation. So it'd be hard to match it, even though I know that they can. I think it would be easier to match it with a new IP.
Awesome. That is the perfect answer, and I'm 100% with you. Zeus, where can people find your work and check out your streams?
It's Jesus Here's Toast at twitch.tv, and that's just it. It's HEYZEUSHERESTOAST.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll pop it up on the screen too. And make sure to check out the Awesome Games Done Quick stream that Toast did, or Zeus did, or Hey Zeus, Here's Toast. I'm not going to get into your name because I think there's a lot of secrets behind it, and I want to leave those secrets to be secrets.
I'm a man of many mysteries.
I can tell. They're all hidden in the beard. Zeus, thank you so much for joining us here at IGN. Congrats again on your awesome stream and for doing great work for charity and for kicking ass at Bloodborne, one of the hardest games of all time and one of the best.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It was a pleasure.
I'll see you soon,
Have a great
man.
day.
Yeah, you too.
Take it easy.
Oh, hey there. Thanks for watching our interview with a Bloodborne speedrunner. If you love Bloodborne, you'll love the designs of Bloodborne, so you should check out our video on a Bloodborne book. That's a lot of time saying Bloodborne in one sentence. Bloodborne, Bloodborne, Bloodborne. Now it's real. They're appearing in front of me and trying to kill me. If you love PlayStation exclusives, you should watch our video about God of War. But not just any God of War, this adorable, cute plushie God of War. It's so cute, you just want to hug it. And you'll need to after Bloodborne. Bloodborne, Bloodborne. Remember, Bloodborne.